Yeah, let's start off by first greeting members of the media. Good afternoon to everybody. I don't know what the aim of that was cancelled.
No one's
But I think let me first take this opportunity to, on behalf of the players and the technical team and the rest of the Mamelodi Sundowns family, to express our sincere condolences to the bereaved and in fact the entire football fraternity. We've lost an astute member of the media in Jermaine Craig, and our sincere condolences to him, his family and friends, and the bereaved. And yeah, you know, when we were with him just a few months ago in these press conferences, and it was really very sad and shocking news, and we just pray and hope that God's hand can be with him and his family, and may his soul rest in peace. But looking forward to the game against Pyramids. We are under no illusions. We understand how difficult this game is going to be. We want to qualify from the group, and we've got that as one of our objectives, and that means making sure that we win our home games. We know that they are a very, very good side with some very, very good players, and already when you watched the games that they've played, even in the domestic league, they sit number 1 on the log and are doing very well this season, runners-up in the cup. Unfortunate to lose on penalties against, I think it was Zamalek when I watched. And but a good side, very, very good team that well organized with some very experienced players and good players. El Shanawi in goals, Osama and Semi, the 2 center halves, very aggressive, very strong. And of course Ramadan Sobi, probably their most influential offensive player with Fakri, and a heavy reliance on the fullbacks or the wingbacks in Chidi, who's probably very, very aggressive and one of the most important players from the right hand side, and Hafez, who can play at left fullback and left wing back, and maybe even at left wing, depending on what system they play. So yeah, we know, very difficult team and a very difficult game ahead for us.
Good evening, everyone, and good evening to Africa, because it's the Total CAF Champions League game.
And because you're from Uganda.
Yeah, of course, very difficult game on the weekend. We all know how important it is for us to qualify from the group. Looking forward to the encounter. Not the best of starts that we wanted previous game, but we believe that we can get results at home. But it's going to come with a lot of hard work, because we're playing a very, very good team with a lot of experienced players. A few guys who are in the team that have played at the highest level. So we need to take the game very serious and try and win as much as we can, because we don't want to get into a situation where we need someone to win for us. So it's very, very important, and the team, the players know that it's important to get points as quickly as possible. So that's how important how the game is on the weekend, because we know the group is not easy. Everyone has won and everyone has got 3 points, so anyone can go through. So for us, it's all about winning our home games and try and get our results if it allows. So it's it's very, very important for us to win on the weekend and get the momentum going into the return. I'll call it a return leg because these two games are very important in the group. It's a back-to-back, so it's very important for us to get maximum points in the two games.
Thank you, Denis. We'll kick off the Q&A. Just your name as well as your qualification.
Coach Lorenzo from the Sundowns. As you can see, it's 3-3-3-3 in the group. You guys lost to Mazembe. They beat Mazembe. You guys beat Nwadibu. They lost to. So the competitive edge of this group compared to your previous groups is quite stark in difference. How excited is the squad now for this game? Because as you can see, it's a crucial game to win, especially at home.
Yeah, 100%. We're looking forward to it. I mean, for the first time today, in a very long time, and even after so many games, when we finished training, they wanted more. So normally we finish training and they off the pitch very, very quickly, to try to recover and get the ball. But today they wanted more of the session, more of the work, and to stay a little bit longer on the pitch, and that's always a good sign. So very proud of this group and the work that they've done and what they've achieved. But we also understand that we can't be in the mind of still the best team, still in the competition, still AFL champions, still it counts for nothing. These things that when you start using that word still too many times, you know that you are living a lot in the past and you're making very little progress. So we want to focus on what we have to do this year, and what we have to do this year means we want to get out of the group and qualify for the knockouts, because that's where we believe that's when the Champions League starts.
Coach,
Nice jersey.
Yes, Mokwena, my adopted country. My question is to Denis and the coach. Denis, obviously you've been here for some time. What have you made of? You've seen different generations try to achieve, even one that went all the way in this competition. Just your thoughts on this current squad. I think it's their second Champions League together as a group. What do you think they can achieve? And to Coach Rhulani, is there a way to take advantage of Pyramid's inexperience in the Champions League? I think this is their debut in the Champions League, and maybe you know from being here that even if you're doing well domestically, it can be tough to navigate at times.
Of course, I've been around the club for a long time. I've seen different players, different generations, but in this type of players that are here at the moment, they want to change also the badge, because they found the badge the way it is right now, and they're working very hard to try and also change the badge, put a second star on the badge, and try and make history as well, because it's very, very important for the players to try and leave a mark at the club, and that's the best thing they can do. Last season we were knocked out in the semi-finals, and we believe that we could have won it. So we're not going backwards. We're looking forward to playing in the finals, which is very important. But we start with the group stages because it's a very difficult group, as we can all see that everyone has got 3 points. So all we need to do is take one game at a time, start with the weekend, and try and look forward. We'll build on to that and see how the team goes forward, because it's important for the quality of the team that we have to be in the finals and of course to win it, because it's possible, but we need to believe and we need to know that it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, I think the Pyramids are a team, Mazola, that makes up for the lack of team experience in the Champions League with an accumulation of very good exposure, competitive exposure for the individual players. You know, they've got players that play for the Egyptian national team. Like last season, they've got Ramadan Sobi, who's played in the English Premier League. So his players, and it's that have very good competitive exposure, and that level of experience will for sure help them. And you've seen already in the 2 games that they've played that they are a team that can cause a lot of problems. You know, against Mazembe they were very, very good, and even though it was a very difficult game for them, but I think at the end probably got the result they deserved. And a difficult encounter against Nojibu, but already when you look at the group, you can already see how difficult it's going to be for all 4 of the teams that are in this group, and we want to be one of the 2 teams that qualified for the quarterfinals, and it starts with making sure that we get a win at home, especially in our home matches.
Thanks, T. My first question is to the coach. Coach, some 2 seasons back, you once spoke about losing the right match, and you were almost ridiculed. Actually, you were ridiculed for saying that. Last season, you lost 0 matches, but didn't win anything on the continent. You lost the game to TP Mazembe last week. Does that provide a different kind of motivation to the players to say, you can go back to them and say, just we can make this the right game to lose, because as of now it's not really a game of consequence, but it can be if the performances don't improve in the next matches. And my question to Denis, you are one of the most celebrated and recognizable faces on the continent, and Rhulani was nominated for Interclub Goalkeeper of the Year, even though he didn't make the shortlist, but Peter made the shortlist for Interclub Player of the Year. What type of motivation, or do you guys have any discussions, or do they even ask you what it is like to be on those type of stages, because you are the last player in the team and in the PSL as well to make even the team of the year alongside Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane? Oh, sorry, and Debs has also been nominated for Goal of the Year for his rocket against Al Ahly.
Yeah, it's always good to have players nominated among players who are in Europe, because it shows that the quality is also within the club. It's good that Peter is in the final 3. It's unfortunate that Ronza couldn't make it to the final 3, but being in the top 6, it's unbelievable. You can imagine how many goalkeepers are on the continent. How many keepers are playing in the Champions League, in the Confederation Cup, national team goalkeepers, and that's on the continent. So for me, Ronza being in the top 6, it shows that he's done a quality job. He will be there at some point. It's very difficult to compete with the keepers who are in Europe, but for me, I'm proud to work with him. I've seen Rhulani growing from a young age at Supersport, and now we are the same club. So the quality that he has shown that he's capable of doing it. And of course, Peter scoring the goals for Namibia, qualifying for AFCON, and of course for Sundowns, and Debs at the crack against Al Ahly. So for me, it shows that they are focused and they're taking their game very serious. And of course, the team also being nominated. So it's a very good thing for the club, but it's also a good motivation for the youngsters to know that when you do good, the world is watching, and they will always be nominated and being rewarded. It's very important for footballers to be in that space. It's very good to be in that space, and I just hope that Peter wins it, or Tebza wins it, and the club also wins the club of the year. So for me, I'm very honored to be part of the group that is really pushing to be on the top level of African football.
Yeah. I remember saying that and I remember being ridiculed for saying that. But I always say to the players two things. In football, you will win, lose, or draw. And in competitive sport, you will lose more than you win. And so you have to try, number one, is to lose because you are going to lose. So you have to lose the right games. And then people say, but what is the right games? Which ones are? But let's look, because time and history always reveal reality. Argentina lost the first game in the group stages of the World Cup and went on to win the World Cup. Spain in 2010 lost the first game in the World Cup, went on to win the World Cup. And so this Al Ahly, who struggled, we beat them 5 last season, and they went on to win the Champions League. So we know and we accept that we have to raise the level of our performances, and we know that. We're always a group that wants to do better with each and every single training session, with each and every single day. We want to win the day. And we want to make sure that we become a better team than we were the previous day. So it's all work in progress, and we have to just keep knuckling down and focus on our objectives. And as long as there's still games to be played and there's still hope and possibilities, we still believe, and we try to move on from both victories and defeats in the same way. You know, we treat both as imposters. We treat success as an imposter, because when we win, we are not in heaven. But we also treat defeat as an imposter, because when we lose, we are not in hell. And what's important is what lessons come with both winning and losing, and trying to make sure that we understand that we are not invincible. And that result against Mazembe was one of those that we can use as a reminder that, you know, teams on the continent can beat us, you know, and we've got to be aware of that, and make sure that their desire of wanting to beat us is not more than our desire to achieve the objectives that we've set for ourselves.
Jabalongete from News 24. My first question is to Denis. I mean, you've won everything there is to win in this domestic football with the team, helped Uganda.
So you must congratulate.
Also helped Uganda go to the Nations Cup after almost 3 decades. What is it that still drives you in terms of wanting to excel and play at the highest level, looking at everything that you've accomplished and your status in the game in the continent? And my question is to Coach. Your colleagues tend to throw some jibes at you, either direct or indirectly. Does it affect you, and how do you handle it?
First, let me congratulate both you and Kamo on your awards. Congratulations, and may God bless you with many, 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 many more. Yeah, they do. I don't respond. It's part of the territory, I suppose. But someone said something very interesting to me the other day. In fact, a friend of mine I was actually speaking to, because they got moved by, they were more emotional about one of the jabs than I was. And then I pushed it aside, and he said, yeah, it's true, because he said something like, shade that comes from a tree that bears no fruit doesn't matter. It says, yeah, and believe me, no, actually, no.
For me, first of all, I also congratulate you guys. It's not easy to win awards. It's not easy. It's not given. You work for it, and it's a great achievement. And going back to your question, of course, I've won almost every trophy on the continent. But football has looked after me football has changed my life, and probably I want to work as an example to the young ones that you can stay in the game as long as you want if you look after yourself. We've seen players retiring at the age of 25, 23, but the passion, when you still have the passion to play the game, you keep going. I see players at the highest level now, they go all out. I mean, there's a player in Pyramid who's 39, and he's an infield player, so you can imagine at the highest level. But it's all about looking after yourself and having the passion and the will to go every day to do the same thing, but also to be an inspiration to the young ones that you can keep going, because if your body is still going, why not? If you still have the will and the desire to win more trophies. I mean, I want to win more trophies, and as long as I'm at the right club, I will keep winning the trophies, and when time comes and I'm done, I will be done. But at the moment, I still have the will and the desire and the hunger to keep going and competing with the young ones.
And most importantly, the quality.
Yes, quality.
Still one of the best on the continent.
Yeah, I even feel like an imposter. I chose the wrong role here. What Minas and
they say if you hang around the barber shop,
soon enough.
So you're in the right space.
I must actually
yeah,
sit
in the right
middle.
space.
I must sit in the middle. No, congratulations, gents.
Yeah.
Coach, you speak about yourself. Obviously, we know, we see it, and you say that you are a very bad loser, which I think for a coach is a good thing, because nobody, I mean, should enjoy losing.
No.
But what sense do you get from your play? Because you can get in, you can be mental, emotional, say things to them, but what do you get from them when the losses come? Something that even picks you up to make you believe that I actually have the right people here to kind of carry on this thing. And also on Denis, coach, you also mentioned what he has won and so on. Part of the role he plays is leadership, but from yourself as a coach, how do you feel when, I'm sure you want him to play, but he doesn't get to play as much. How do you navigate that and then talk to him about it? Because the guy wants to play, I'm sure.
Yeah. No, but he's good enough to play, and that's what we need at Sundowns is players that are good enough to play. I don't have to speak about Denis because the facts are there to speak for themselves. His career is there. I was fortunate enough to be invited to spend a couple of days in Uganda with KCC, and I can tell you, just by mere association, the treatment that I received was incredible. It was as if I was invited by the president of the country. The moment I got to the airport, I mean, it's really, you've got to experience it to understand it, and more than that is a human being that I have incredible respect for. I can speak to like with many of my players, to be honest, I can speak to Denis about anything. My own personal life, his personal life, his kids. Sometimes I have to babysit. When it's school holidays, he brings all of them here. And Denis's kids are a handful, and they all look alike. They all, and I've always got to go to Denis. That is, and he tells me every day, but they all look alike. And I say to him, it's crazy how all your kids, they look alike, almost same height. Then there's the two that look identical like twins because they've got the same hairstyle. So, but that's the type of human being Denis is, and he's an incredible father, and that should tell you what type of human being he is, and what a pleasure to have around. But he understands that I've got also a job to do, and I've got a job that says I've got to minus the emotions and focus on what's best for this team. And even though he knows how much love and appreciation I have towards him, not just as a footballer, but as a human being, I think he also understands how difficult my job is, you know. And with the technical team, we sit always, we watch training, we analyze everything, and we then make the best decisions for the team. And there are games, of course, where we know we can use to give everybody a chance. But one of the most important things that we spoke about this season was meritocracy and making sure that everybody fights for his place in the team, and that starts and appearances are not just handed out to people, and the people have got to fight and earn their right to play, you know. And Denis is no different. He's one of the players in the team, and he has two responsibilities. One is to be a good competitor, and not only just in the matches, but also at training. He must fight and compete for his position. But he's also got an extended responsibility, which is to manage the change room and show leadership and seniority in a space that has very little impact from us, you know. So, but I can speak forever and ever about Denis. He has a chapter in my book, a whole chapter. So you'll get to understand some of the things that I deal with behind the scenes. But I'm an incredible human being. Your first question was in relation to, I forgot, please remind me again. Yeah.
Okay. It's on the losses.
Oh, the losses.
Not from yourself.
Yeah, from the players. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I feel the mood. I know when I walk into the change room after a game, I feel the mood. And I speak about what I have on my mind, and one of it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. I'm an empath. I'm a highly sensitive person, so I feel energy, you know, and so and energy never lies. And so after a game when we've lost, I can feel the disappointment and the frustration amongst the players. And I said to them even the other day that the moment we lose that, then we lose the right to be a big team. So fortunately the players are in the same space that, and in fact probably some of them are even worse losers than me. You know, they're even worse, more grumpier, and so we're surrounded by the right people at the right club and at the right time, and that's very, very important too.
Yes, we should take the last round of questions.
Good afternoon.
TT.
Sure, Coach. Temba Shabalala Joseph, I'm sports coach. I just need to find out something. It's only Sundowns and Orlando Pirates that have won the CAF Champions League in South Africa. If you put your finger on it, I mean, we've had Kaizer Chiefs getting into that space, losing it in the final. Orlando Pirates have been in the final as well, as lost it with that Abu Trika story and all of that. And you guys as Sundowns have been giving it tries and tries and tries. If you put your finger to it, where do you think we are short as South Africa? Because of course, you know, material is there. I'm looking at this pitch here. It can be a stadium, national stadium, but we don't get to the final stage and grab it. What do you think makes it difficult? And if I may add another one, just to follow up to your colleagues who've been giving jabs, I just want to find out. There was a matter that divided the country in terms of the football space. One says no alcohol, no partying in my club. The other one says, in my club, you can booze as much as you want as long as you give me my time. Where is your headspace when it comes to players' behavior or misbehavior when it comes to the beverages?
No, well, it's a fair question. it's a difficult one to answer just off the and I think both are probably interrelated. And it's a very difficult question to answer, and I'll tell you why. Because football is a microscopic reflection of society. And our society at the moment is got a lot of issues. We have many social ills that are related to drugs and substance abuse. We have issues pertaining to gender-based violence. We have issues that relate to unemployment. We have issues that relate to crime and many other aspects that are connected to that. Education, health, and so I think to answer that question you'd need a little bit longer than the time you guys have given me, because the type of talks I have with the players are related to, one, taking care of the career and not just the talent. And when you have an understanding that you've got a career to look after, you then understand the responsibility that comes with not just being on the training pitch and providing a service for the club, but is also about how you conduct yourself and how much you sleep, what you eat, what you are exposed to, and etc., etc., etc. So I am still in that space where I am big on professional conduct, and there is no job I can think of, or maybe you could say no, but let me not go there, but there is no job that I can think of where you can perform to the best of your ability under the influence. And so when you are a football player or a professional athlete, there are certain unwritten demands that you accept, and those become part of your day-to-day lifestyle. You know, you adopt those into your habits. So there are things that I ask the players to do. There are things that I speak to them about, and they know. But at the end, I also accept that I coach human beings, and I coach grown-ups who understand what is right and what is wrong. And I also speak about the importance of being good human beings. And being a good human being means also understanding the responsibility you have as someone who a lot of people within just the general public and in society, certain behaviors are judged based on your behaviors, you know. So it's a tricky one, but you still leave it to the players. You can advise, you can speak, but yeah, but fortunately I don't have those issues in this team. Fortunately, what do I think is lacking again is fortunately South Africa now has a technical director, and I think that with all due respect to Walter Steenbok is now his responsibility to see where South African football is falling short, and how do we make up for it from a competitive space, you know, as compared to the rest of, not just from the continent, but from a global space, and how we can get ourselves to be as competitive as the rest of the world, because we've got the talent, and we've shown in different sporting codes that we are just as good as the rest of the world, you know. Just the other day, Denis was showing me. It's quite funny that you asked me that question, because just the other day, Denis was given. Unfortunately, he's here, so he can say whether I'm lying or not. So, just the other day, he was given an assignment by his federation and the president of the Ugandan Football Federation in trying to solve why Ugandan football is not where it should be, and what type of things can be done to try to raise the level of Ugandan football again. Unfortunately for Denis, he passed on the homework to his coach. And I only had 24 hours to produce a dossier. I don't know how many pages I ended up giving you. But fortunately, that's not my responsibility I've got to do what I have to do with the job that I have to do, and I've got to try to get Sundowns as competitive as, and that is already a hard job on its own. So I think I would leave that responsibility to the TD, and who already I think is doing an incredible job, and I think with the heads put together, for sure, I think South Africa can come up with the solutions to try to get South African football to a level where it should be.
Coach, I remember earlier in the year, how sort of distraught you were after that match in the semi-final.
Yeah.
It was quite clear how hard it hit you.
Yeah.
On a personal level, also obviously for the club.
Yeah.
And you were emphatic also even in the started phase of defeat that Sundowns will ultimately win the Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
And elsewhere you have also said that within the Champions League is not an obsession for Sundowns.
No.
Now, given these two statements that I've said, some people are saying, how do you marry the two together? In a way, with due respect, they can be a little bit at odds with each other. Because at the end of the day, Sundowns will ultimately be judged by the Champions League. How do you marry the two together?
By signing a 4-year contract. And that already is a sign that I'm committed to the project in the long term. The club has given me that responsibility to marry those two together, and it's a process. The Champions League is a very difficult competition to win for many reasons, and particularly for us in the sub-Saharan region. It's quite difficult. But it's something that I am very clear in my mind. Eventually, we will get to that space where we win it again. But it's a process, and it's about making sure that the team is every single year, every single training session, every single transfer window, we get into that space where we feel we are getting closer and closer to winning the Champions League. And of course, it's not an obsession. It can't be an obsession, because we are not those type of people. We are not driven by negativity. Obsessions come from a negative and dark place. We would rather dream of lifting the Champions League, because that comes from a much lighter, a much more positive space. And so as long as the dream is there, there's still hope, and we will do everything every single day to make sure that this club gets closer and closer to winning a second star.
One last question, Coach.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Coach, last year around November is when we started seeing the diamond, the previous formation, the previous system coming, gelling and producing results and looking good on the pitch. From a viewer's point of view,
Yeah.
And I said to Kens the other day that I think this season's formation I'm having the same feeling about it now at this point of the year. I feel like total domination, Super Sport, total domination, Mazembe, total domination, but does it scare you a bit because now there's an AFCON break at the end of this month? I think 6 weeks only. Does it scare you in terms of like keeping the level there? Maybe do you have plans to maybe keep it at the level? And my question to Denis is that, just one, all right, no, not a problem, sure, coach.
I think we can still play a lot better. And there's a lot of it's funny, I was sharing with the technical team the other day, Johan Cruyff in his book, he says there's three types of analysts, football experts. The majority are those that can tell you that you didn't play well. There's a lot that can say you didn't play well. Then you've got a second group that can tell you why you didn't play well. And they're also in the minority. And then you've got a 1% that can tell you what to do to play better. So it's people that understand that you didn't play well, why you didn't play well, but can then also provide solutions to how you can play better. And this is where I think sometimes we don't get ourselves into that point where we are extremely critical. And I'm probably one of those people too who is critical extremely, even when the performance of the team I would feel that a lot of people think is at a good level. I'm still extremely critical, and I still come in and I say I think we can do more. I think we can do better like this, and every morning when we come after the next day after, we've got what we call a debrief and a review, and there's clips already to say this is how we want to improve. So my feelings are that with that feeling that we can improve, I'm actually quite excited that there is that bit of a break, because I remember the smaller break that we had, that mid-season break last season, where we had a lot of games and friendly matches, and we could work on certain schemes and pictures. I think that's what this break will provide. The only unfortunate part is that we'll probably not have majority of our team, because a lot of them will go and represent their nations in the AFCON. But I'm always excited to spend time on the training pitch. I'm so much more happier when I'm on the green grass. So much more happier. I'm a difficult person, yes, on the pitch. Very demanding. You've got to protect your feelings. That's what Denis tells me. He says sometimes he has to say he has to protect his feelings, but that's the nature of top. Success has the same clues. The most successful people in competitive sport are people who are never satisfied, who always want more and push themselves even more and more and more and more. And funny, someone in this room sent me something about probably someone that everyone thinks is not normal in their head and has been diagnosed with being psychologically unstable. But one thing that is a common denominator in successful people in every single space is that for them obsession is not an option. And that's what we try to inculcate into our culture is we want to be obsessed with winning and with being at our best every single day and show up, So yeah, that's where we are, and that's where I think we can go and we can improve, and I think the break in January will give us a lot of time to train and to be on the pitch and try to improve the team and get the team to be even better than what it is at the moment.
Coach, thank you very much for your time on this. We should continue to the police, so best of luck in this.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Drive safe. Thank you.
Coach, 44 minutes.
44 minutes. No chance.